Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am just so incredibly energized to guide you through this material today, because we're tackling something that is fundamentally reshaping education from the ground up. The AI era isn't just on the horizon anymore. It is literally sitting in the front row of our classrooms right now. Think about your students for a second. They've got instant translation apps, generative AI that can draft an entire essay in seconds, and this endless stream of global media right at their fingertips. So, the old traditional model, standing at the front of a room and just repeating vocabulary lists, it's really falling flat. We simply cannot teach the way we did 10 or even 5 years ago because the students themselves learn entirely differently now. We need a modern, integrated framework to future-proof our skills, one that actually embraces these tech shifts instead of fighting against them. So let's dive right in and see exactly what that looks like.
So what specific skills are language teachers actually going to need to thrive by the year 2026? I want you to take a brief, totally honest moment here and evaluate your own readiness. Picture your current lesson plans. Okay, now imagine a student who was born entirely in the digital age. Someone who consumes really fast-paced, highly visual, algorithm-driven content literally all day long, interacting with your traditional materials. Are you truly equipped to capture and actually hold their attention? Are you leveraging the incredible tools we have available today, or are you kind of still relying on the methods of yesterday? It's a tough question, but it's absolutely vital we ask ourselves this if we want to stay relevant, build genuine connections, and truly inspire the next generation of global learners.
To answer that pressing question, we're drawing on a totally brilliant and super practical framework presented by a world-renowned expert in Chinese language education, Chun Edison Cheng. He's an associate professor at the National Taiching University of Science and Technology in their Department of Applied Chinese. Now, why does his academic perspective matter so much to us? Well, because he is right there on the front lines. He gets the everyday practical challenges of teaching language in higher education today. He sees firsthand what actually engages modern university students, and maybe more importantly, what causes them to just tune out. His insights aren't just some abstract theories, they're actively shaping the future of effective language instruction.
And Professor Cheng's influence goes way beyond the walls of his own university classroom. He is deeply embedded in the national infrastructure of language education. He serves as a board member for the Chinese Language Education Development Foundation, and he's a standing director of the Linguistic Society of Taiwan. Having that level of involvement really means his framework is backed by a profound understanding of national policy, academic standards, and the rigorous demands of actual linguistic science. So we're basically getting a strategic roadmap from someone who simultaneously commands the high-level academic pulse of the country, while also intimately understanding the grounded, practical realities of what you actually need to succeed on a Monday morning.
Plus, education doesn't just happen in a vacuum. Modern language teaching, especially when it originates from Taiwan and expands its reach globally, is an integral part of a much larger, connected, and sustainable future. Think about the broader purpose of what we actually do. We aren't just teaching grammar rules, right? We are fostering cross-cultural communication that bridges global divides. We're preparing students to be empathetic, effective global citizens who can collaborate across borders. And to do that effectively, to truly build a sustainable educational model, our teaching toolkit has to evolve to meet these modern standards. Our methods absolutely must reflect the highly connected world our students are getting ready to enter.
Which brings us to the absolute core of our explainer today. This is Professor Cheng's exact revolutionary formula for the modern language educator. Ready? It is artificial intelligence times social media times video production times storytelling times professionalism. Now, the most vital takeaway here is that these elements are multiplied. They aren't just added together in some simple checklist. Think about a high-level classroom scenario. You don't just use AI to write a static lesson plan, right? Instead, you might use AI to help script an engaging video. And then you apply storytelling principles to make that video emotionally compelling. And finally, you use social media strategies to deliver it directly to where your students already spend their time. Each element exponentially increases the power of the others.
Let's actually break down these 5 core competencies in action, because this is where it gets really fun. First, AI. There are 3 immediate tools you can drop into your workflow today. AI conversation bots, so students get 24/7 speaking practice, automated grading assistants to instantly check grammar, which frees you up to give complex feedback, and generative prompt tools to instantly create personalized reading materials. Second is social media mastery, to reach students organically. Third, video production, because dynamic visuals are essentially the primary language of today's youth. Fourth is compelling storytelling. And fifth, deep professionalism in linguistics. Imagine the teacher-student interaction you can build with this.
You could divide your classroom into small groups, right? And task them with creating a short Chinese language social media video that tells a local cultural story. They use AI tools to brainstorm and refine their scripts together. It completely transforms passive learning into this incredibly active, collaborative, and super relevant group discussion.
So to summarize the critical value here, it really is all about that multiplier effect. Professionalism alone is just no longer enough. Your deep professionalism, your linguistic expertise, your pedagogical knowledge, that's your foundation. That's the what you are teaching. But AI, video, social media, and storytelling, those are your delivery mechanisms. That is the how. You can literally have the most profound linguistic knowledge in the entire world, but if it sits in a vacuum, isolated in a textbook, its impact is pretty severely limited. The ultimate value of this framework is that it takes static knowledge and turns it into an engaging, interactive, and globally accessible experience. When you activate your expertise through these modern multipliers, your impact is going to absolutely explode.
Now, this visionary framework was anchored to a very specific, tangible target. This blueprint was developed by Professor Chang for delivery in Teacher Tsai Xiao Yu's course, targeted precisely for June 2nd, 2026. And I want you to think of that date not just as a spot on the calendar, but really as a ticking clock. The future of education isn't some distant abstract concept floating decades away. It's arriving on a specific date, and it's coming up shortly. This really grounds these high-level transformative concepts into a real academic setting. It's a clear, urgent reminder that the time to start adopting this blueprint isn't next year or, when you finally feel ready. The time to start building these multiplied skills is right now.
So, is your teaching toolkit ready to multiply its impact? I really want you to sit with that question as we wrap up today's explainer. How can you take your existing expertise and push it through these new, dynamic channels? I want to challenge every single educator listening right now. Tomorrow, pick just one of these multipliers. Just one. Maybe you use an AI tool to brainstorm a completely fresh way to introduce a really complex grammar rule. Or perhaps you frame a standard vocabulary lesson as a compelling story instead. See how even a single multiplier transforms your classroom dynamic and engages your students in ways you haven't seen before. The future of education is incredibly bright, and it belongs to those who multiply. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.